Mike, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. The fact that Hinkie spoke today, I guess that's a surprise in itself. I mean, typically, even if they do something, he wouldn't come out. Is this a clear indication that there are changes there?
Let me tell you how surprising it is that when I found out that he was doing it, I made a phone call right away to make sure it was nothing major, or to find out if Hinkie was getting fired. Or I didn't know what it was either. But no, just I do think it's part of the new regime that they want to be more upfront. They want to be out in the open a little bit more. That's what Colangelo said from the beginning. So I think this was kind of a move like, okay, even though we didn't do much yesterday, we'll come out and talk and say hi to the fans and do what he did today.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because when they sent that email, I guess my first thought would be, are they making some sort of announcement? But I had got confirmation from Preston that Hinkie was joining me at 4. I couldn't imagine they were going to fire him and give him to me at 4 o'clock. So I knew that was kind of out of the mix. But I was surprised that he spoke as well. Let me ask you your main takeaway from that, because a lot of people seem like they wanted to try to find out, well, who's in charge? How have things changed? Did you make this decision? Who said yes on this deal? I mean, has that been cleared up anymore, or are you coming to terms that maybe it is a collaborative effort? Has anything been cleared up in that front office structure?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it's still. I think they all do still talk. I directly asked Sam at the press conference today. I said, look, Colangelo said in Toronto last week that he wanted to bring in another basketball mind. A lot of people might think that means he's bringing in another GM and moving you or whatever. I said, what is that deal? And he said, well, the more minds, the better. And, same old stuff. It's just more minds that are trying to work down this road that they've created. And that's what Hinkie's answer. I don't know where it's going, to tell you the truth. I would assume if they're going to bring in another basketball mind, my thinking would be that maybe it's going to be a GM and Sam Hinkie gets another role in the organization, because I don't think ownership would give up on Sam Hinkie after what he's done for them for the first 3 years, good or bad. He's put a lot of work in, so I don't know if they get rid of him. So I don't know. They're still going to say this collaborative effort stuff, but whose call is it at the end of the day? Not sure, but you're exactly right. That move yesterday had Sam Hinkie written all over it.
I think so too. Bob Cooney's with us. He talked about a lot of different things today in terms of his relationship with Colangelo, how often they talk, how things have changed a little bit here, and I guess that kind of stuff comes secondary when you start to talk about the players. But one thing that stood out to me in terms of the player, he said, when we drafted Saric, the timeline was always kind of 2016. Like, the writing was on the wall there. He was almost saying, like, you all should have saw this, that 2016 was it. But realistically, do you think that the timeline has changed at all from where we are today from when Hinkie started this thing? Would he admit that things have changed? Or the way he said that today, it doesn't sound like that.
No, I think I'm not sure that it was that either. Like, I don't know if 2016, back when he got here, was his date. I mean, Jerry Colangelo has said that since he's gotten here, and I directly asked him the first time he came back to Philadelphia after getting hired. I said, what is the timeline here? Like, what are you looking at? I said, to me, it looks like the draft of June 2016. And he said, that's what I'm looking at. 2016 is the year to move forward. I don't know if Sam Hinkie had that on his radar when he first started this whole, meltdown and shakedown and all. So I don't know. I think answers they owe, and I'm not saying they're lying, but I think maybe the picture's becoming more clear now. And maybe moving forward is what they've all agreed to do, maybe a little bit quicker than they have in the past. But Sam Hinkie said it again, today. He said, who here's looking 24 or 36 months ahead of all this? He said, probably nobody except for me, meaning Sam Hinkie. So he still is the long, the looking into the future type of guy, where I think Colangelo is more of the here and now type. So I think that's where they're trying to put their heads together, and Sam still has an eye on the future, whereas Colangelo is looking to move more forward more quickly.
He had a couple great lines today. The draft and free agency is littered with mistakes from short-sighted thinking. I mean, he's taken a little bit, a couple shots at teams that have virtually taken shortcuts, right?
Yeah, that, and I just really think that's his. Look, I'll tell you, when right after Colangelo was hired, Sam and I sat down and I and we were talking about something, just the two of us, and he said, let me just describe myself to you a little bit. And I don't think I've told you this story before, Mike, but he said, if I was named president of the United States tomorrow, and they told me that we were going to have a long-term war with Russia, I wouldn't look directly at, all right, who will be put on the front lines. I would first go to, how are our military schools, and how can we, teach young people to fight better in the future? That's his type of thinking. Mm-hmm. He looks long range. He's not a here and now type of guy. So it's different. I still see him with that. Yeah, I know people want to move quicker, but I got to look towards the future. It's admirable, and I understand it. But when does the patience really start to wear out with fans if that kept going that way? I don't think it will keep going that way now that Colangelo's here.
Right, and if that's his way of thinking, at what point does it become, okay, our starting point of success starts now? Like, you can't keep gaining assets and building them. Assume they have to hatch at some point, and you have to embrace that. It almost, by that definition or that story, sounds like he doesn't want to embrace the hatching point. He just wants to keep building.
Yeah, I know. And that's why, exactly like I think that's why Colangelo's here, right? Like, because when does it stop? And maybe somebody noticed, like, he doesn't want to stop. He doesn't want to target the immediate future. So I think it got to be a little bit scary, not only in the organization, but probably the NBA and why they got involved. They just didn't see any immediacy to what was going on here, so they decided, all right, something needs to be done, and that something was Jerry Colangelo.
All right, Bob Cooney's with us. He said there was some interest in Okafor and Noel at the deadline. He did mention that they are happy with the way that they've played together. I don't know that Brett has the same thought process, but in your opinion, Bob, was now the time to make a decision on Okafor or Noel, or do they have to keep these two guys together until they figure out Embiid?
I think they have to keep them. I honestly do. I said that before, and I say it again. I don't think you get rid of an unknown quantity to pick up something that probably is also unknown. I mean, this is the route you went. So take a look at what you've gotten. Grade it out, see how it works, either together or with. Joel Embiid's a huge piece here. In my opinion, get the three of them on the floor or in the practice floor together. Get Dario Saric there. Get all the pieces that you've accumulated. Take a look at everybody. See what works best. See what doesn't work. Go from there, and then you still have time to decide what you want to do. I mean, I just don't think that making a hasty move right now. If you got rid of a Jahlil Okafor, and God forbid Joel Embiid couldn't come back and play or gets hurt again, now your center for the future is Nerlens Noel, and that's it. You know what I mean? So, like, you thought you had three centers. Now you're down to the one that maybe could be the least effective NBA center in the league of those three.
But if you deem that those two guys aren't playing well together, or maybe they don't fit together, do you just hold on to them just to say we have two big men even though they don't play well together?
For now, I would, yeah, because I would take a look at them. And look, they're not even playing all that much together right now. They start games together, but they don't play that much together. And they can still get their 25 to 27, 30 minutes, whatever it is a night, without being on the floor all that much together. I want to see how good they are. I want to see what pieces you – I want to see Nerlens Noel try to play the four a little bit more. Let's not forget, I mean, Okafor hasn't played 50 games in the NBA. Nerlens Noel's only in his second season. It's still way, way early to decide on a 19 or a 20-year-old and a 22-year-old whether they're going to be good fits in the NBA. I just think you look at them as NBA players, whether it's together, separately, whatever it is, find out what works best, come up with a game plan then, once you've seen everybody together, and then decide what you're going to do. I don't agree with getting rid of all these pieces that you scaled down so severely to get, and then get rid of them before you have a good sample size.
Bob, he did give an update on Embiid, who's out in Qatar right now, getting his foot worked on, and they had planned to accelerate him to the next stage. He kind of wiped out any possibility of him playing in the summer, but it sounds like they are anticipating him being ready. But did we gain any new information on Embiid, and should we feel any different?
Not new information, no. I mean, he hasn't said that he's healing at a faster pace. He didn't say that, he's running and jumping or anything like that. It's the progression, it's another step that they're knocking off with this trip, and they keep moving forward. And, he said you see what you see, him shooting jumpers and him doing what he does. But It's it's the biggest piece of this summer. It really is. As much as the draft picks are, and maybe Sarah's coming over, the biggest thing this summer is the progression of Joel Embiid, and will he be able to get on the court? And they're doing everything they can. The fact that he's in Qatar, they're doing everything they can to try to get him healthy and able to play next season.
Yeah, it's obviously a big step in this organization's future. And today, him coming out, and they did make the trade yesterday, and they got a second-round pick. As you mentioned, it seemed very Hinkie-ish in that deal, but they also got themselves over the floor, so they saved a little money in that as well, which also seems very Hinkie-ish.
Oh, absolutely, no question. And, yeah, they'll take on that Joel Anthony salary. They'll probably waive Joel Anthony, and I was reading between the lines today. I think what he said was that look, they might bring back Jakar Sampson by Sunday. I think you have to wait. At 5 o'clock tonight, he goes on waivers. You have to wait 72 hours, whatever it is, and then you have a chance to bring him back. So the way Hinkie, I thought, made it sound, I was doing some writing when he said it, but reading between the lines, it sounded like he said something like they might bring Jakar Sampson back, which is neither here nor there for the future of it, but it just adds to what the move was all about.
All right. We'll have Sam on in about 15 minutes and ask him some more of these questions. And get his.
He's a media whore lately, isn't he, Mike?
I love it. I love him. He's out and about. He's everywhere. He's a talkaholic. He's a talkaholic now.
Yeah, you can't shut him up now.
He had a nice suit and a nice new haircut too today. He looked dapper.
50 is what I would say. You're right.
All right, Bob. Enjoyed it, man. Appreciate it.
All right, Mike.